To this brand new series, which is called as Gyaan Nahi Gossip by Dr. Pallavi Kwatra. I welcome you all to these wonderful talks that are going to give you incentives actually to be able to ruminate and go deeper within yourself. So, but there's going to be no serious undertone to this. However, the messages are going to be stirring some things in your subconsciousness. So I hope that you enjoy it as well as it creates some impact for the better in your life. So today is the first talk for the series, and the topic for today is going to be on the importance of Vairagya in our daily life, in our spiritual life, and how Vairagya is the essential drama quick fix in our life. So many of us are following many kinds of paths and spiritual ways and techniques, and you know, we have our own ideologies, beliefs, and spiritual disciplines that we are undertaking for our spiritual growth. However, there's one thing I feel that the common factor for walking any path on the spiritual transformation entails us to be actually detached from the whole pathwork itself. That is why I chose this topic, because it's very important not to get trapped up in the cult of your own identity trap of walking the path, as if it's something very serious, and as if you have complete control over what's going to happen, and as if you can actually equate cause with effect, and be able to say that whatever that I got or did not get is because of what I did or did not do. So the whole idea of the I person actually doing many things in our lives, playing out many role plays, is the actual trap where I want to get your attention to. And Vairagya essentially is the loss or the dimming away of that doership. It's the withering away of the ego that is actually claiming its like its actionables, its accomplishments, and the way that it finds itself either failing or succeeding in specific areas of your life. So Vairagya essentially is the ability to give away the power of doership. And that is a principal quality that is required in a sadhak. Because without that, he's essentially going to be probably succeeding in many ways in his own sadhana and in his own self transformation. But till the time that he is unable to give up the idea that he himself causes these things to happen in his journey, the the truth is not going to be revealed to him. He may have some ideas about his progress on various fronts, but without the detachment of doership, the entire activity is going to come to a, like, it's going to spike, but then it's going to have a plateau phase. So being aware of this very dangerous position of ownership in our journeys is a vital component to our inner pathwork. And so the common things that we need to be, see, there's no real practice to there's no really some modality to practice Vairagya. It's like a moment to moment awareness in your own consciousness. When you fail and you succeed, for both the occasions, your steadfastness of continuing to do the work without any kind of expectations or accolades or anything like this, that needs to be practiced in moment to moment activity in your life. So you don't have to sit down and do some japa to work out a Vairagya practice in your life. There's no essential way to preoccupy yourself with a certain, like a kind of time segment or a discipline segment where Vairagya will be dawning upon you. It won't dawn upon you. It will come to you when you practice it every day, every moment, in everything you do. So, as I said, the topic for today is how is Vairagya the quick fix to the drama of our life? So, we all are actually very dramatic, I must say. So we have colorful Bollywood movies going on in our heads and in our lives also, where moment to moment our mind is constantly either engaging in pleasure or pain or disappointment or extreme joy. So there are fluxes of emotions. If you see across the entire day, your mind is going through different phases, like like the moon. So that's because we are behaving like the participants in our journey. We are full on, and we want to we want to do everything possible to create a difference, because that's what the ego actually loves, creating an impact. So it constantly tries to vacillate and strategize its um, actions to be able to do something at least, because until and unless the ego is there, it just can't sit down and accept and be silent. It needs to keep voicing its power position on you. So you're going through different fluxes of emotions, and you're thinking that to be like the drama of your life to be actually true. Whereas if you will learn to practice Vairagya, you will be able to immediately, it's like the quick fix of the drama. The minute you get aware that you're not a participant, but only an observer in this, you're like only the Sakshi to your own life and its unfolding, then you're not really going to be affected and be going up and down in the crests and troughs of your own life drama. So that is the importance of steadfastness and remaining in the plateaus, silent sattva self within yourself. It's not changing like the waves of your mind, because if you can see that you are not the mind, you are the consciousness principle, then you will be able to be detached from whatever you do, say, speak. Whatever others do, say, speak to you will also remain a part of the drama. So that's why Vairagya is the quick fix of the drama of our life. Now comes the point that how do we actually practice this in our urban life? It's like in the day to day life, we need to carry a steadfast authority in places of work, in our relationships with people, even in the closest relationships. You can't just give up your ego and then, just wait to get crucified by everybody. So, how do you practice Vairagya in the middle of this samsara, which you are a part of? You don't have to be running away. We are not we are not in that phase of I'd say, like, we're in 2023, and the essential practice of Vairagya has to happen inside the ambit of where we are in our urban living. It's not about earlier times where the practice of Vairagya could be done by moving away from a householder life, from a city life, and actually doing a lot of tapas in terms of sadhanas, meditations, which made your mind actually detached, and you also practiced simple living with minimal needs. So that was the way Vairagya was cultivated and practiced by our saints in earlier times. But how do we work out this thing in the middle of our city life? So essentially, it is a challenge. It's really not easy, but it is very much possible. So simplicity and the way that you stay within yourself, inside yourself, without any kind of, sabotaging others for who they are, vindicting them, getting into their dramas, asking them to get into yours. All these things you can actually observe. If you become a little silent here, you'll be very, very mindfully able to see where you actually leave your perimeter of the self and jump into the drama. So these are all practices that come to us when we are a bit silent here and there. So the daily tips for practicing Vairagya in urban life, I could just share what I am doing. I don't know how far I'm successful, but I'm really working on this very consciously. So one thing is to engage in a practice of silence. Silence is really embalming in many other ways, not only just for Vairagya, but for all practical and spiritual purposes. It is extremely good to spend certain quarters of your life, like in a day, while just being silent. You might think that that's a very theoretical thing, because even if we are silent, I mean, we're always ruminating and we're always thinking, and our thoughts are not silent. It's okay, it's fine. Because as a preliminary step for inner silence, outer silence can be the starting point. Nobody goes to university without doing toddler steps, right? We go through school, we go through college, then we go for PhD, like that. So, external silence, staying with yourself quietly wherever you are. It's not about meditating. Please, it's do not confuse it with meditating. You can just sit quietly for a certain 10, 5, 15, 20 minutes. That's all. Even if you can slowly, gradually exceed this level of the duration, you will find that with external silence, even your thoughts will begin to go a little, the flow will go a little, overwhelming जो होता है वो कम होता जाता है, वो शांत होता जाता है, वो slow हो जाता है. So one practical tip to practice Vairagya is to practice mauna, silence. Second thing is that look carefully at situations where you are being triggered. We all have people in our life, who are who are our trigger points, and whenever we come into their ambit, their energy field, consciously or unconsciously, we tend to jump into that, um, the porridge which they've created for us, and the entire जो हमने काम किया होता है अपने ऊपर, वो सब कुछ जो है वो उसी मिनट में खत्म हो जाता है. So you need to be very careful about these trigger point people when you are with them. And sometimes you don't know who will trigger you. So you have to be actually mindful with in all your interactions. But essentially, with those who are your trigger points, know very well that they're a part of the drama and so are you. So it doesn't really matter what they're saying or doing to you, because that's unreal. So that's the second conscious way to practice Vairagya in daily life. Third tip, going away from social media, because in today's time, the trigger is not only just in people you meet, but the trigger is coming from a whole lot of the bolus of information and knowledge and people and their ideas about things that you have no clue about, you have no experience about. But when you hear them and when you know about these things, you seem to have virtually become enlightened, though you are actually not. So, so you tend to get into an ego trip that, I know so much about so many things. So cut down these triggers of social media for at least a few hours in the day, so that your mind is not affected too much by the ripples of these triggers. See, we can't really do too much, but we can do little. And that exactly the willingness to do little is actually what causes the transformation. You don't have to reach Mount Everest right on the first day, but you have to start walking. So start practicing, start being more conscious, start being more mindful. Have a daily meditation practice for 5 to 10 minutes. Work with your breath. These are practical tips that will keep your mind calm and still and will decrease this arrogance of doership inside you. And when that happens, automatically, when you're not the doer, how does it matter to you what is happening? It's just a part of what the whole unfolding is. So you'll automatically be detached to it. You don't have to do anything to be detached. You will the true jnana or the true wisdom of knowing who you are will liberate you from these day to day setbacks of life. So that's what I wanted to share. And also today, I have with me my dear friend Dipansh, who's been very supportive and who's offered me this platform and been very kind and considerate to be patiently waiting for asking a couple of questions that may drive us deeper and inquire, make us inquire more. So,
Yeah.
Dipansh, do you have any questions to
I
ask?
have a lot. Yes, thank you so much. I was listening to you, nodding away to glory as if you were talking to me. So thank you very much. I think ये जरूरी है ज्ञान में ही gossip के जरिए ही I think a lot of people will get the not so accessible heavier ideas into very simple digestible ideas. तो आपने कहा था कि कुछ time in the day we have to observe silence and social media is not the way. So my first question is, again, I'm a reader, so genuinely I'm going to ask that question. Is reading a sense of detachment from the doership, like how you're saying this? Because even when you're reading, your mind is still actively involved, right? It's not that you're absolute silent at that time. What do you
Yeah,
think about that?
reading is also another portal of information only. I'd
Yes.
say that. So
Yeah.
reading cannot replace your practice of silence.
Yeah.
In silence, it has to be a void sthiti, the shunya avastha.
Mm-hmm.
So where you're not triggering your mind to even think or so a
Mm-hmm.
book may have its own ideas of the
Yes.
reader.
Yes.
It's trying to impact you and to make you believe what the reader is actually experiencing and going through. So it
Mm-hmm.
has a aggressed point of view, I'd say that. So
Okay.
in terms of this, that it cannot be a replacement for your silence time.
Okay. So
Okay.
silence, when you're doing it, you have to give into it, is how I see it, right? But silence ke saath, it has a myth that people only become silent when they're sad rather than celebrating the silence, right? So if somebody is heartbroken or somebody is into procrastination, laziness, addiction, maybe. So how Vairagya fits into that bit? Because is it Vairagya? I don't think it's Vairagya, right? At all.
Not
What is your
Vairagya
take
at
on
all.
it?
Uh, a mind that is actually unhealthy is never in bliss. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
bliss is the differentiating point
Mm-hmm.
between a vairagic state and a depressed state. So
Okay.
if you're truly in vairagic, the
Mm-hmm.
bliss body is going to be more effulgent inside you. Okay. You're going
Hmm.
to be more powerfully magnetic because of the anandam state that you are
Mm-hmm.
experiencing with that vairagic bliss.
Yes.
Whereas when you are a person who's got some altered mental issues or
Mm-hmm.
emotional issues, like you're
Yeah.
depressed, you're disappointed, you're all these things lethargic, then
Mm-hmm.
you're not going to be experiencing bliss in that vairagya.
Yeah.
You're going to be feeling हाँ सब बेकार है जीवन में सब झूठे हैं सब कुछ है, but you're
Exactly.
actually sad about it. You're
Yeah.
not
And listen to some
exhilarated.
Arijit songs, which I'm
Yes.
sure is not Vairagya either.
No, it's not. It's not, because in true Vairagya, you will be in the still silent state of effulgent bliss inside
Yeah.
yourself. You
Hmm.
won't need any impetus or trigger or
Yeah.
practice or doing or book or person, nothing you will need. you will just be in the celebration of the self, which is a very different state from, it's a very exalted state of the
Yes.
advanced spiritual seeker. And
Mm-hmm.
you will exactly know when, how to differentiate this from your depressed states.
Hmm. That, yeah, that's understandable. So do you suggest for people who are just getting into the Vairagya, which is the quick fix for detachment from the drama of life, कि शुरुआत में ही तो 20 मिनट का 25 मिनट का नहीं होगा. So for 21 days, which is essential to form a habit, do you suggest that we keep the same window for celebrating the silence, or that has to increase as the days go by to attain the control?
Can be variable for people, because essentially it's like a self-tailored practice. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm not a person who can give a mold and say
Hmm.
ab sab aa jao aur is mold mein fit ho jao.
नहीं हो सकता.
It doesn't work like that. Our lives
Yeah.
are very beautifully crisp and very flowing and unique, and we have our
Yeah.
own energy signature, we have our own lifestyles. So there's nothing that can be impressed on everybody and everything, like, like the thing.
Like
So
one size fits all नहीं चलेगा इसमें.
हाँ, नहीं चलेगा, नहीं चलेगा. तो पर start, that's a very good thing that you said, that 21 days is
Hmm.
a wonderful duration to actually get that activity or reflex into your inbuilt into your system.
Yeah.
So so you can actually do like a, say, 20-minute silence for
Hmm.
21 days, and
Hmm.
then you can increase it for, say, 40 minutes for the
Hmm.
next 21 days, like that. And
Hmm.
you can journal it,
Hmm.
like every day you can have a daily journaling. Just, I'm telling you, it takes just 5 minutes or few minutes to only record your daily experience. But
Yes.
when you have a journal of a activity that you've done, say, for 21 day
Hmm.
sets, at
Hmm.
the end of, say, 3 sets, you will
Hmm.
be absolutely proud of yourself of having walked a very steep curve with so
Hmm.
much of like
Yeah.
it'll inspire you. It's not something that you could be proud of, but everybody needs inspiration to keep walking. So,
Yes.
21 day sets with increasing frequency of like the increasing time period could be
Hmm.
practiced.
That's a practical way of maybe also keeping a tab कि ये नहीं कि आज छूट गया चलो कर लेंगे कल कभी. That doesn't happen, I'm sure. Last question, if I can ask again.
Yes, why not?
Why people associate Vairagya as the end of life thing? कि सब कुछ पा लिया अभी और कुछ नहीं है अभी वैराग्य का पालन करना है. Why is the conception like that? I'm sure that is not how it's even formulated, isn't it? Detachment क्या होता है? आप detached शुरू से भी हो सकते हो, जरूरी नहीं बिल्कुल आखिर में जाके डिटैच हो. ये पतझड़ नहीं है, राइट?
Yeah,
तो
yeah.
आपका क्या क्या ख्याल है इसमें?
I'll answer that. You know what? A
Hmm.
loser has many pleas and excuses in life.
Very well said. Very
So,
well said.
so those who've really not actually done work on themselves in their long life, maybe say
Hmm.
like when they're, ये जो setting up
Hmm.
तुमने describe किया ना
Hmm.
दीपांश, ये
Yeah.
generally 55 50s
Yes.
में ना ये set in होना शुरू हो जाता है लोगों
Yes.
में, कि अब मैं क्या कर सकता हूँ, अब तो
True.
मेरा जीवन बीत चुका है, अब तो जो मैं कर सकता था वो मेरा हो गया है. सो
Yeah.
अब तो मैं बिल्कुल अपने में ही रहता हूँ, मुझे किसी की कोई वो नहीं है, जो होगा होने दो. So
Hmm.
these kind of attitudes are coming from a very it's like a loser's plea, because
Yes.
he has nothing to actually stand up for and to say with vindication that
Yeah.
yes, I practiced something as little as a
Hmm.
one act of kindness for my entire 50 years.
Hmm.
Somebody who's done a steadfast work on himself
Hmm.
for 50 years is never going to be that uh, pessimistic about life.
Exactly. Exactly.
So he's using Vairagya as a cover up for his pessimism. He's
Which should not be.
yeah, yeah, and there's really no age for it. You can actually be you can start at any point. Whenever you wake up, is it's the morning.
I
There's
think
no,
that's a very good time, isn't it? Because the chaos hasn't started yet, and it's
yeah.
beautiful atmosphere, and you're still you're almost like a blank slate. मैं तो करने वाला हूँ ये.
I think that 40 और 45 के बीच में जो
Yeah.
वक्त होता है ना,
Yeah.
that is really very apt for this for the following reasons. One
Hmm.
is that you're still having some amount of bodily agility. You've not slipped
Yeah.
into those chronic disease pattern. Number
True.
two, you've earned enough in life to give you that amount of
Hmm.
basic financial stability where you need to just stop worrying about कि आज का खाना कैसे मिलेगा भाई.
Hmm.
तो
True that.
एटलीस्ट आपका माइंड वो डेली स्ट्रगल से और एक फाइनेंशियल स्टेबिलिटी पे आप आ जाते हो जनरली फॉर मोस्ट
True.
पीपल. And third is that you are a little free from your kids are probably a little bit grown up and more
Yes.
independent. So for all these reasons, it's a wonderful time to start also at 40, 45 at this time, and then actually look at it that, like I still have lots to do. I can, the possibilities are still immense for me.
Yeah.
It's never the dead end for anyone at any point, actually. It's not related to age. It's about
True.
your stiti inside.
Yeah. And so the moral of the story is that the earlier we start, better that we get on with it. And the more we know ourselves, it just is better for how we even deal with people in real life. क्योंकि मन शांत होएगा तो मुझे ये चुल नहीं रहेगी कि नहीं लास्ट वर्ड हमारा ही होना चाहिए, हर एक किसी में जवाब मेरा आना चाहिए, यू नो, एक मुहावरा ये तो फिर एक डायलॉग मुझसे भी. I don't think it's going to be necessary, right?
Yeah, the earlier you start, and also initially जब भी हम कुछ नया सीखते हैं या नया जानने की कोशिश करते हैं, प्रैक्टिस करने की
Yeah.
कोशिश करते हैं, बड़े हिकअप्स होते हैं और
हाँ,
बड़ी वो एक लर्निंग कर्व में होते हैं. बट
exactly.
but when we actually begin to, there comes a phase in that journey when we began to actually go deeper and enjoy the practice. So शुरू में जो वो एक्सटर्नल साइलेंस हमको बड़ा ही बैंटरिंग लगता था कि यार ये मैं क्यों कर
Yes,
रहा हूँ बैठकर अपने साथ, ये मैं
exactly.
टॉर्चर क्यों कर रहा हूँ अपने साथ, वो कुछ 21 डेज के सेट्स के बाद आपको एक्चुअली इंजॉयबल लगेगा. यू विल वांट टू वेट फॉर दैट टाइम ऑफ द डे वेयर यू कैन बी साइलेंट. So the earlier you start, you actually build the momentum and the depth of your practice. So
True.
as early is as good, I'd say
As
that.
good. I'm so sorry मैंने ज्यादा वक्त ले लिया, बट लास्ट में बस इतना बोलूंगा कि कहीं से मैंने ये पढ़ा था या सुना था, याद नहीं है. कहते हैं कि मेडिटेशन शुरुआत में इतना प्रॉब्लमेटिक लोगों के लिए इसलिए है क्योंकि उनको आदत नहीं है चुपचाप बैठने की. और इनिशियली जो विजुअल्स उनके सामने आते हैं जब वो फोर्सिबली मेडिटेट करने बैठते हैं आर नथिंग बट अपने दिमाग का कचरा. इट्स द होल डर्ट ऑफ द माइंड दैट विजुअलाइजेस इटसेल्फ. बट विथ टाइम what happens is that one gets better with flushing this out, and then only when somebody goes through the rite of passage of flushing these imagery out is when they will attain that silence and the vairagya. Am I on the right track for saying this?
Yes, it's like when you open the tap of
Yeah.
a, like you go into a house which nobody is inhabited for a long time, and you
Wow.
open a tap there, and
Oh,
it's like a whole mucky water coming out of
yes.
that tap. So
Wow.
when you actually begin to practice silence or meditation, then all these thought ruckus, kachra
Yeah.
in your head is going to keep
Yes.
surfacing itself and making you eject that practice out of your system.
It's a
But
beautiful
if
example.
if you're able to prevail and keep the tap open,
Yeah.
it's about the maintenance, the will to
Yeah.
continue to prevail on the practice. Then
True.
you will get beautiful water, you will get
Yeah.
fragrant water, you will get pure streams. So the
Very
pure stream of your silence will deepen more and more as you work with it. So don't give up thinking,
nice.
don't be disappointed that trying to practice silence, लेकिन मेरे को तो और विचार आ रहे हैं और
Hmm.
उग्र हो रहा हूं मैं.
Hmm.
उग्रता जो है उसको देखने की जरूरत है फॉर व्हाट इट इज. इट्स अ
Hmm.
प्रिल्यूड टू योर saintliness. It's not
Yes.
something to be discarded and shunned, and I wouldn't want to see my ugra self which has so much of explosion of nonsense coming out.
वो भी तो हम ही है.
वो भी तो हम ही है. तो वो
Exactly.
है हम
Yeah.
उसको देख रहे हैं और वो हो रहा है. और वो
Yeah.
कितना नाचेगा, कितना
Exactly.
नाचेगा बताओ. हाउ
Exactly.
मच विल आवर थॉट्स डांस.
Absolutely.
They will tire out when you fail to give them any attention and importance.
So true. So true.
And slowly you will begin to enjoy that silence. So don't get disappointed if you have exodus of thoughts in your earlier days of practicing silence. Vairagya is the end. Vairagya is the blossoming. It's not the
Hmm.
technique actually. सो
Yeah.
वैराग्य को टेक्निक के जैसे नहीं, उसको ब्लॉसमिंग के जैसे हमें देखना है, जो तब होगा जब हम मतलब समा भाव में रहने के लिए बस
Yeah.
हम रहेंगे तो अपने आप हो जाएगा वैराग्य. उसको कोई पावर पॉइंट वो नहीं
Hmm.
है कि भैया
Yeah.
ये हो गया है, ये फट गया है, ऐसा नहीं है. Vairagya is not something that will explode in you. One day you get up and you say, "Oh God, I don't care what happens in the world. I am detached from it." It doesn't happen like that.
It doesn't.
It's a very subtle blossoming that happens
Yeah.
when you have sat with yourself.
Very nice. I love the way you explained it. This is amazing. I think this session should continue, but for now, 15 मिनट बोला था, but ज्ञान ने ही गॉसिप एक्चुअली गॉसिप के जैसे बहुत लंबा होता गया, आधे घंटे पे है हम. But I think let's save it for the next episode as well. We are going to come back with another very inaccessible topic made accessible through chit chat and light moments and the life experiences that you have. Any parting words from you to everybody who had been patient enough to listen to us for the last half an hour?
I just say thank you so much. Your practice of Vairagya has begun by watching this session till the end. And and a powerful reminder that no drama in your life is actually real. So don't get really boggled up with anything.
Absolutely. All right.
Thank you very much. Namaste, and hope to see you for the next session. I want to thank Dipansh for helping me channel my thoughts so much to choreograph them in a certain direction and also to enable this platform where I'm able to speak to all of you. Thank you so much, Dipansh, and good night, Shubhratri.
Good night, Shubhratri, everyone. Thank you for your time as well.